Someone should tell the WWE that they can take nostalgia a bit too far. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling blog, who always tells it like it is. Update on last week's rant. Allegiant Stadium is saying that everyone who comes to SummerSlam must be wearing a mask, regardless of vaccine status. Whether they can enforce that once they're in the stadium is unknown to me, but at least they're taking the right steps, especially as this third wave gets worse and worse. Odds are that the WWE won't be returning to the Thunderdome or the Performance Center anytime soon. Anyway, with that little bit of so-called relief to announce, it's obvious that the WWE wants to make SummerSlam as memorable a pay-per-view as possible, especially with NXT seemingly going back to a minor league of sorts and the roster being reduced left, right, and center. I mean, Bobby Fish I can understand. He's nothing without the Undisputed Era, but Bronson Reed? The guy who was North American champ just a month or so ago? Shush! At any rate, the WWE seems to be taking the Donald Trump route when it comes to their situation. To distract us from something ridiculous, they're doing something even more ridiculous. You know, like giving superstars who haven't actively competed since the WrestleMania that almost wasn't primary title matches. Neither Goldberg nor John Cena has even been seen in a WWE ring since WrestleMania 36 at the empty arena currently known as the Capitol Wrestling Center. Goldie could not stave off the monster among men Braun Strowman to defend the Universal title. And John Cena was last seen stuck in the other dimensionally Firefly Funhouse thanks to Bray Wyatt. Who knows, maybe they figured out that since the last of the Wyatt family were gone, they could come back unopposed. And yes, I know that Goldberg does have a clause in his contract stating he can compete in up to 2 matches per year, but why do they absolutely have to be title matches? And John Cena seems to be doing a victory lap for what appears to be a highly successful launch of the Suicide Squad, and he openly said that the WWE was his home, but that does not give him the right to take a title match away from someone as deserving as Finn Balor, even if it wasn't Cena who prevented him from signing that contract in the first place. The bottom line is that since the WWE is back to live crowds, they want those crowds as loud and raucous as they were before the pandemic started, and nothing fires up crowds like good old-fashioned nostalgia, they believe. So why not have 2 of the most reacted to superstars in recent history come out of the woodwork and challenge for the gold? I'll tell you why not. It's because they're taking opportunities away from those who slaved away in the Thunderdome to the sound of nothing but piped-in WWE 2K20 crowd noise, which they never really got right even after close to a year of trial and error. It's because Goldberg and Cena have done nothing to deserve a title shot except for the fact that they were available and almost guaranteed to get a reaction upon coming into that ring in that football stadium full of, hopefully, masked up members of the WWE Universe. It's because the WWE doesn't realize that nostalgia has its limits. Oh sure, it's what they built their entire WWE network on 7.5 years ago, but while I enjoyed the extras they put in, like Storytime and even Camp WWE, and while I had a great time reliving every Royal Rumble from first to latest, the true reason why I became a charter member of the WWE Network was because I wanted to see the latest pay-per-views and was not willing to spend between $20 and $50 when I could see them all for less than $120 a year. Nostalgia is fine in small doses. I went back to the previous 2 Punjabi prison matches so that I could see just how much the one between Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton was gonna suck. I watched the Randy Savage-Ricky Steamboat match several times just to prove to myself that it's still the greatest WrestleMania match ever. While last month I rewatched the corporate ladder match at last year's Money in the Bank and marveled at how entertaining it was, even with the unneeded cameos of Doink and Brother Love. But it's not like I turned on the WWE Network all the time and did this. The only other times I turned it on, it was to watch the latest pay-per-view. That was as much nostalgia as I could handle from them. I mean, sure, it looked like Roman Reigns didn't have anyone to defend the Universal title against at the time, but there's no reason to give an actor a shot at what might be a record-breaking 17th title. I mean, just because the man he's tied with left the company. Sure, it seemed like the almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley could bulldoze his way through the competition on Raw, but that's no excuse to bring back a Hall of Famer and waste him on a match that might as well be even shorter than the defense against Kofi Kingston. Though admittedly, probably not as one-sided. Much like the COVID-19 vaccines, the WWE wants to give its universe a shot in the arm and get them excited about them again quickly. They don't understand that some of us have an allergy-like reaction to sudden acts of nostalgia, and others will flat out reject it as sheer desperation. Stop dragging oldies back from the wrestling retirement home and giving them significant matches. The average WWE Universe unit are on to you and will not allow you to get away with this without serious flaming. Although, put Goldberg, Cena, The Rock, Steve Austin, and Hulk Hogan in a fatal 5-way for the greatest of all time title, then you have my complete, undivided attention. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling blogger who always tells it like it is. Stay safe, and I'll see you.